get to the monthly reports, the meat and potatoes.
Only an hour and a half in. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just an hour. Oof. So Summit is
So
on SC
far.
and just a massive raid. 31 and over 30, almost 32,000 viewers on SC on that one channel right now. Yeah, it's a big deal. Having Naz and I talked about this in a podcast a while back, where we talked about big streamers noticing. Actually, Summit was one of them. Summit, and who's the other guy? Man,
Ollie?
no.
Ollie was pretty big before he got into Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Level cap was also pretty big before Star Citizen.
I don't remember, but I forget even what episode we brought it up, but we looked at their numbers and stuff and talked about.
What was the guy who watched the trailer and got absolutely blown away by the Squadron trailer?
Asmund Gold. Yeah. I don't know. I need to find that episode. I don't remember why we talked about that or what the context was, but
it was specifically on that dude doing the Squadron React.
Mm-hmm.
And just like questioning if that's even possible to do in a game. That was great.
Yeah. All right. So now Nas and I are going to look at this bit. These are the patch notes for Alpha 323.1, PTU 9174453, which just came out just before noon today. So this is mostly just the Fleet Week stuff amongst a few other things. Yeah. A lot of fixes.
We were expecting just a Fleet Week stuff. However,
yeah. However, they did this. So and a lot of I know people are saying, "Oh, this is to sell the Nursa." No, it's not. There's going to be a free fly.
Oh my god, you'll be able to respawn in the Ursa. Holy crap.
Yeah. There's going to be a free fly. We're going to have new Xeno threat.
Not during the free fly. They did say that.
No, yeah, not during the free fly. But you know, they are expecting a lot of new people because this is a huge patch for Star Citizen. And so there's going to be a lot of new people, but we still have a lot of bugs and people still die to random stupid shit all the time. And what they're doing, it says features and gameplay, medical bed respawn update. Now, if you remember in 3.12 is when they took away the respawn capability from the Cutlass Red and made it only the tier 2 beds on the 890 and the Carrack, as well as the hospital beds and the clinic beds. Now, to me, even that was premature, I think, just because. But I also think they did that thinking that we would get to where we are now a lot sooner than we have. And we're just not there yet. But it says, with the release of 323.1, we wanted to provide players with a less brutal experience when getting back into the action. And to me, this is because we're going to be having a lot of new people who CIG wants to retain. CIG wants to maintain what's called the conversion rate, where you make a free fly account and then you buy into the game. And the conversion rate at its peak, like in 2022, is at like 33%. So only like 33% of people who made a free fly account actually bought the game. And so, but that's a really good metric for CIG, because if they have a high conversion rate, it means more people are buying the game, and then more people end up buying more ships and funding the game. It helps them with their funding. But if their conversion rate is low, it's also a reflection on the stability and the experience of the game. And I think with a big free fly and big events and a huge patch that I think a lot of people are going to come back to SC for because of the changes, I think this is a necessary change in the short term. To help with this, we are making all medical bed tiers be capable of being set as a regen location. The range at which you will be able to respawn in them will depend on their size class. Tier 3 beds, so your NURSA, which is the medical URSA that's releasing at Invictus launch week, the Cutlass Red and the Anvil Pisces C8R all have tier 3 beds. Tier 3 beds will allow respawning up to 20 kilometers away. So your doesn't, you're not really going to be parking your medical nurse at 20 kilometers away. That's a long ways away. But this allows your Cutlass Red or your C8R to be effectively be in orbit and away from the action, but not having to be hovering in atmosphere essentially. But 20 kilometers away, tier 2 beds, so Carrick and 890 jump, which previously allowed respawning up to 20 kilometers, will now allow respawning up to 50 kilometers away.
Which this also means that you can turn any ship into a 20-kilometer field respawn.
Yeah.
Like Infinite Ursa. So your Constellations, your Corsair.
Anything that can fit your Nursa. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is smaller than the Pisces C8R. These current values for respawn distance will be monitored for balance and will be adjusted if needed. Healing capabilities for all beds will remain the same, and players respawning will do so without their equipment they dropped on death, and will have to be prepared with extra stored or survive to go back and reloot their corpse. So, this is temporary, folks. This is not a permanent change. That's why this whole thing right here, everybody saw this and just went straight to this. They forgot all about this. With the release of, I'm going to reread it again. With the release of 323.1, we wanted to provide players with a less brutal experience when getting back into the action. To help with this, we are making all medical bed tiers be capable of being set as a regen location. Getting back into the action. If they want people to test and play the game, they need to make it less brutal. Because the brutal part right now is the bugs and dying from stupid shit. It's not for selling the Nursa, which is going to be like $40-$50. It's
funny how when CIG goes to release a thing, they look at whatever it's capable of and they look at those features in the game. Hey, maybe we should do a pass on this. And then all the naysayers around the game like, they're obviously making the game better to support said new ship. Just like that's backwards how they're doing it, my dude. Like, it's because they're releasing ship, they're looking at these features, not they're looking at these features so they can release ship.
Mm-hmm.
They happen to be in the neighborhood, so they stop by the local grocery store. They didn't go to the local grocery store to shop or to be in the local area. Like, it's
yeah. Well,
not how that works, bud.
The other big thing that people seem to forget, and a lot of people are complaining because they're like, oh, this is going to make medics irrelevant. The problem is medical gameplay is so limited right now, and the actor status system is still limited. It's
even when we ran a medic in our org events, they basically just drive the Pisces around and say, "Hey, I'll come and pick you up, and you can lay in the bed." Mm-hmm. That's all they did. They're not. We don't have medics on the field even now. So that's an irrelevant argument as far as I've seen in gameplay.
Yeah, they
like
everyone. It's not
who
at a
has
state where
a med
it
gun
matters
can
that much unless you're really LARPing. So this is in a thread that somebody posted, and I'm just going to read Xylo's reply. But here, obviously,
my guns. Wait, where's that?
This person is very passionate. This person is very passionate, and there's a lot of very passionate people in this thread. But I want to read Xylo's reply. Lots of great discussion happening in here, and we're reading through all of it. We'll also be closely monitoring how this change impacts the gameplay experience in Game 2. I'd like to chime in with a few notes. Previously, Tier 3 beds did not offer enough utility outside of replenishing food and drink, which is not their intended function. That's not what they're meant to do, and minor injuries. They could only heal Tier 3 injuries, They also don't have the ability for stabilization. That's when I say that the medical system is very rudimentary. This is what I'm talking about. In that medical beds are supposed to be able to stabilize your injuries, in that they will not get worse. And so the actor status system is only at tier 1. It's going to get more involved. Medical is only at tier 0. So the med beds are really only good for healing the injuries at the level that they're able to, and for respawn with some of them. And so these ships didn't have a whole lot of use, other than healing tier 3 injuries, which are meant to be the most common injuries. But the problem is, even with the changes, the goal, and they've made a big step with this patch, and even in 322 towards that goal, is they if you remember the food triangle from back when we were all kids, where you have your servings, and you're supposed to get more of these and very few of these. Okay, imagine death. Actual death is at the very top. And it's supposed to be more of a progression towards death, except for the very rare instance where you have catastrophic death, where an 890 jump lands on top of you, or you get hit because you were standing too close to the impact of a size 9 torpedo or a size 10 bomb, or you weren't wearing a helmet and you took a sniper round to the forehead. Those are what CIG considers like catastrophic death, where that there isn't a reasonable explanation for the medical system to be able to heal you. And so they want you to generally take injuries, but then what happens is, if you take a tier 3 injury, you don't get it healed. It makes you, it essentially increases the probability that you'll get additional injury. That tier 3 injury will convert to tier 2 if you get shot again, and then convert to tier 1. And then if you have a tier 1 injury, you're more likely to get downed and die, and so on.
Danger Hobo said, but the feed pyramid was wrong, though.
Yeah, it's an example.
It was right at the time.
It was right at the time. But that's the scale that they're going for, in probabilities. In that it's CIJ wants a progression towards death, where you have and then it goes from, essentially you have 3 types of death, is what Richard Tyrer, the guy, one step below CR, explained it as. You have your death in where you don't die, but you're downed. And instead of backspacing and you commit suicide, you backspace because you're not going to wait for an NPC to come and heal you on the site, or a player to come and heal you on site. And you're backspacing essentially to say, okay, a ambulance came and rescued me and took me to the nearest hospital, nearest appropriate facility. And you wake up in the bed as if you got rescued and treated, and here's your medical and ambulance bill, and you have insurance to help you pay for it, etc. And now you have to go get your stuff, or maybe you bring your stuff, maybe you don't, but you didn't actually die, and so you didn't actually regen. It's just like if you got shot on the street and you went unconscious, but an ambulance took you to the emergency room and you survived. That sort of thing. And then the next level of death is you actually died, but you were able to regen. But you only get to regen so many times, because your imprint will degrade over time, and you won't be able to maintain it forever, and that's those are the second tier of death. We're working our way up that pyramid, and the last tier of death, after you go tier 3 injuries, tier 2 injuries, tier 1 injuries, downed state, actual death with regen, and then you can't regen anymore. Your character is kaput. Now you do the whole inheritance thing. You pay the inheritance tax, blah, blah, blah. It goes to your next of kin. You make a new character. And that's like the very, very end, but it's a progression system. What we have now is not what we're meant to have. So there's a lot of people getting super upset because they're thinking that CIG is walking away from all that with this very much temporary change.
And even a lot of the comments on that post that you cited, the original post, the one you were replying, that's it. Zyla replied to. Well, I was saying they're making a lot of ships irrelevant. Apollo Endeavor, Galaxy, blah 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 blah, and like how terrible this is for the long term of the game. That's kind of the point. This is a terrible decision for the long. Horrible. The point is, it's temporary.
Yeah.
This is specifically a short-term fix. This is a wait for it, an alpha.
Yeah.
And multiple... it is one of those. It's one of those very simple things that can just change one line of code and have a better alpha experience while they get the entire medical system up to snuff where they want it, to then just go change that one line of code back. Yep. Somebody said in chat a little while ago, it's gonna be really hard to roll. Myark said they will find it very difficult to roll this back as we are so far into development. We're so far into development in years, not into the getting actually done.
Myark, we just rolled out master modes.
Yeah, we still got a pretty long way to go as far as like actual development goes. Mm-hmm. It's just been really slow for, we'll just call it reasons. But this is specifically a band-aid for the making other parts of the game testable while we ignore the medical side for now. They'll come back and they'll have a whole system. Remember, medical is supposed to be a core gameplay. So it's going to be just as deep as salvage and mining and cargo and everything else. But they're not there yet. So we'll put in this band-aid, just like we had the mining like tier 0 and the salvage not being everything.
There yet makes it really hard to test those other systems that they're building. I can't remember the last time I died due to combat, though, but I do remember the most recent time I died was because the hangar doors at a distribution center were out of sync with what was being rendered. And so I requested to lift off, and I watched the doors open, and I saw the sun, and then I lifted off straight into doors that were not open.
That's a good PSA. In 323, everyone test your hangar doors before you go through them. They are out of sync a lot. I've seen a lot of people, including me and obviously Tree. We splat on the hangar doors a lot. So test your hangar doors before you go through them. Be cautious.
Yeah, just give them a little nudge.
Yeah. Was it salvage vehicle munching is a very, very specific, also the exact same thing. They said, hey, we want to make this gameplay, but we're not ready for maelstroms, so just put a band-aid on it. We already had the work done. Just do it. Same thing. Vehicle munching, as we know it now, will be absolutely removed, and the actual system put in place.
They're making economy changes right now that are essentially define the baseline for quantum, but eventually all the economy system that we have is going to be entirely replaced by quantum. And Dell, it does suck. There is no perfect solution. It's just
welcome to Game Midland.
Yeah, and everybody knows I absolutely loathe with a fiery passion the idea of tier 2 beds having regen. I think it's absolutely stupid, and it flies in the face of the carefully crafted lore and everything they have said previously to that. But I still think it's temporary, and I think eventually we're going to get there. We're just not there yet. And I wish that they hadn't taken away regen or respawn from tier 3 beds in 312. But it happened, and now they're walking back from it in a temporary matter because, and this has been said by multiple devs. I won't name them, but multiple devs who everybody knows and loves. But the Backspace Express is a temporary solution for the alpha state of the game. It is not the intent, and so. And if Richard Tyrer has said that on multiple occasions, like I have a playlist of all the times that Richard Tyrer has talked about everything they want for regen and medical gameplay. It's long. That guy will talk. And what we have is not anywhere close to where they are planning to take it. Yeah. When you have to backspace because you glitched into the wall. Yeah. The prior to my, my glorious Cutter Rambler. God, I love that little ship. Splatting onto the hangar door at a distribution center. The previous death to that was me getting stuck in the, because I sat down at the freaking dinner table on the 400i, and I
Oh,
got out and it glitched me into the freaking wall. I didn't get
you
shot.
didn't have a
I
spacesuit,
didn't
I
have
assume.
I couldn't get out.
Oh, you were
was
just
just
inside
stuck.
the ship. Okay.
Yeah, I was one.
Yeah, I actually
part of the ship, part of
I
the crew.
landed
That was
at
me. I did it.
I landed at the New Babbage ground entrance, and I took the little 400i elevator down, but I didn't wait for the gravity to finish figuring out what it was gonna do, and I just let it go down and I ran off. Physics was still figuring out, so I just ran through the bottom of the ship out onto the terrain. I'm like, okay, guess I'm here now.
Yeah, I tried everything I could. Luckily, we had just landed at the station that was my spawn point, so it was okay. But I had to do the backspace
Nice.
express, to get out of the ship, but I couldn't get my body back either. I was fucked. I was hosed.
Yeah, medical is one of those things that is core to the game itself, but is not ready and doesn't have any resources to be worked on right now.
And the
As far as we
stability
know.
of the game really negates the use of it because, not every when majority of the time you're skipping those first 3 or 4 or 5 steps of the pyramid on your way to death. Yeah, you might get those injuries, but a lot you're having the dispersion, or there's another word for it, but the proportions are all wrong between death and injuries. Death is still far too frequent, but they can't do anything about that because the deaths they want you to have are about a right rate, but the deaths they don't want you to have are way out of whack. And they can't do anything about it right now, which is why medical gameplay has been on the back burner for a bit, because it really doesn't matter all that much until they can get the game closer to that 1.0 experience, where that the number of times that you die due to bugs, it goes from here to here. And so this, is no longer an issue, and that pyramid looks more the way it should in terms of proportions of injuries to death. But yeah. So as long as it's a temporary change, I have no issues. If it's a permanent change, I will fling flaming poo. And everybody knows
it doesn't
this.
read in any
I've ranted about
capacity.
it in
Like,
Paul's channel.
we've gotten literally no indication this is a permanent change.
Yeah.
Like, this is like you said, this flies in the face of everything they've laid before. Like, and they said like a week ago that Death of a Spaceman is living and strong.
Yep.
So this is having an Ursa be able to respawn and Death of a Spaceman being real does not equal one. Like, it just doesn't. You can't have both. So I fully believe that this is a temporary solution for Alpha for the next year or so.
Yeah. If not longer. And I'm okay.
By the
with
way,
it because,
you said it wasn't an hour and a half yet.
well, now it is. But we've reacted to 2 things, which is 2 more than we had previously.
Well, this is the third thing. Retribution.
Oh,
You showed off your models, and the
I'm gonna have all these
dynamics
little
are meshing. Now this, so we're on
little
a roll.
micro
We're on a roll.
react things to get views for. Nice. Yeah. Yep.
You had me
All right.
flaming. Oh my gosh!
Can I pick up the Copion scat, light it on fire, and throw it at people?
I'm with what's it?
Dried Rantadung.
Flamethrower went. Didn't they say they wanted a flamethrower at one point?
I'm pretty sure. Even though it's against
that is my
Geneva
go-to
doesn't exist
bug
anymore.
killer in Helldivers.
It's my
so effective.
go-to Del Inar killer in Helldivers. He gets me with the 380s. I get him with the flamethrower. That's how our relationship works.
Oh my gosh, that's great. We don't have Geneva or Oach anymore.
I do want less than lethal weapons, especially if you can dial down the taser to just be annoying. Ow!
Well, we don't have the taser, the preacher yet. We only have the lightning bolt company. which
But
are
when you
supposed to
get
be
it.
lethal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
No, we have the annoying ones are the Nerf guns. The not Nerf guns.
Oh man. If you could just
We need some way to indicate that you have hit or you have been hit by the Nerf guns.
yeah. I want to shoot somebody in the eyeball and have it affect their vision for like 30 seconds.
Oh my god, that'd be so bad. Oh no.
All right, let's
You
get
weren't
into
wearing eye
the
protection. Back.
let's get into the monthly reports, and
Oh boy.
we'll finally do this. This is gonna go a little bit longer.
Monthly
but
report.
It's okay.
What are those?
Yeah, what are those?